got quite the story to share with you all. And no, it's not of Trevor's vasectomy.
Whoa! Dude, I love gay people now!
No, we're a good guy. We're trying to save the kids. Look, we're saving you! Saving!
Okay, so I was born in... currently live in Mount...
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Goobers and Screens Book Club. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Kyle. Kyle, say hi.
Hi, everyone.
And today, we are going to be talking about the Dark Continent Expedition arc. A whole 9 chapters of the manga. How's about it, Kyle? What did you think?
Well, as I said probably 30 seconds ago before we started recording, this is where I am now new to reading the manga. I watched the anime up to the end of the chairman election, and this is the arc where it picks right off. And for these 8 introductory chapters, I thought they were great. I don't know what people's consensus on this arc is, but I love the mystery that the Dark Continent sets up, and we'll touch on that later, but I like the mystery that sets up. I like the different factions forming. And another thing to talk about later, I'm sort of down for like Gon and Killua not really having done anything in these chapters at all.
Yeah, that's something I was going to bring up, is this, we enter into a period of Hunter x Hunter where Gon and Killua aren't the main characters.
And here's the thing. I compare this to what I thought of Marineford, where One Piece's world is interesting enough to where they can have events happen without Luffy. A lot of shonen can't commit to it. Their worlds, as interesting as they are, they can't fully function without their main cast. Like, imagine anything in Black Clover happening, or My Hero, or anything of the sort happening without the main character for, like, I don't know, 5 chapters. It's kind of hard to do, because either they're like near or they show up right at the end and it goes back to them as the focus. So I really like how in this arc we're just seeing the world of Hunter x Hunter play out as is without the lens of the main characters.
Yeah, also, I was going to say, Kurapika is the original main character of Hunter x Hunter, because the 2 like intro chapters to the world follow him and his friend. And those are the first 2 chapters I read. So for me, it's kind of like getting back to the OG main character of Hunter x Hunter.
And we've also shifted focus to a couple of goobers named Jing and Pariston.
Yes, God, I'm so happy that Pariston is like a major player, dude. Dude, I love Pariston so much. Literally my favorite character, and I get to see him do stuff. How based is that?
I'll say this. While he's a character I personally cannot vibe with, but I think he is a phenomenally written character, and it's like, whenever he later reveals his mentality on why he does what he does, it's a great moment, because it's pretty terrifying. Like in the scenes where Jing's just talking, he's thinking like, I hate him, I wonder what I'm gonna do to someone who I truly hate.
Yeah, dude, I love Pariston so much.
Let's start at the beginning with the meeting of the Zodiacs, and Bean comes in saying that he has like a video message for them, or is it like a recording?
It's kind of something. Well, first he shows them like a news feed where we see that the country of Kakin, I think, I guess that's how you pronounce it, Kakin.
Yeah, Kakin.
Correct us in the comments, and by that I mean I don't care. This episode is airing in the middle of October, so sue me. We are recording this in August. Actually, August 8th, which you pointed out the cool little parallel there, Kyle, of later we learn that the Dark Continent Expedition leaves on August 8th. Is that right?
Yeah. It was just interesting to see. Nothing to do much with the story. It's sort of like how people every year, whenever they say, like, we're going to meet at York New City September 1st, every time September 1st rolls around, it's, oh, hey, look, it's the day that they met at York New.
Yeah. And it's also, this is before we get into it, kind of, I will say this is something you wouldn't have noticed because you haven't read the rest of the manga, but the art, like, the style changed this arc.
Man.
Like, the art style is different, and not just more detailed. Like, this is the most detailed the art has ever been in Hunter x Hunter. But, like, the style itself changed, and it's, like, almost kind of weird. It's good, but, like, it's noticeable.
Are you able to edit in that one panel I sent you earlier of, like, the world is too big?
Yeah.
I haven't read much on Hunter, but that's one of my favorite panels of just seeing Netero and the other two just looking out, being like, this is too big of a place to explore. Like, we can't do this. And just the sheer scope of it all. It's such a wonderful 2-page spread panel.
And also, one more bit of clarification before we start. I have read this over the course of like 2 weeks because I will read a little bit and then take like a week break. So I might not remember all the details. So we get to see that Kaken is planning an expedition to the Dark Continent, and they're like, we're bringing in an expert, Netero, and we're like, Netero's dead, and then it's like his son Beyond, and it's like, yo, Netero has a son.
I like his name. That's not really much critical analysis there. I just like the name of Beyond Netero.
It is a cool name.
Because you could even think of it as like he is quote unquote beyond Netero now that Netero is dead. The original Isaac Netero is dead. Now someone beyond Netero, aka his son.
And we get to see that his son, Beyond himself, wants to explore. He wants to explore the Dark Continent, and we get more on that later. We also get to see here with the Zodiacs that Jing and Periston have left. That opens up two little spots on the Zodiacs. I'm not so surprised Periston left. I think him leaving was kind of unofficially from the end of the what you call it, the end of the chairman election arc. And Jing leaving isn't too odd either.
Yeah, if anyone had to leave, it'd be those two.
Definitely. We also see that the government here in whatever country the Hunters Association is based in wants them to hunt down Beyond and to capture him, because they're like, he's up to some no good.
Yeah, and so what it is there are 5 countries, and they organized into one faction called the V5, and the V5 has placed sanctions about exploring the Dark Continent, and so that's the V5 is trying to get them to hunt down Beyond.
You'll have to fill me in on some of the details. The beginning is a section I read 2 weeks ago.
Well, okay. I also have the wiki pulled up just because I read this a while ago too. I read the first 2 chapters, waited a while, and I read the rest. So they're talking about their plans, what they need to do for hunting them down. Let's see.
We get to learn that there is some being called the Gatekeeper. When it comes to the Dark Continent. We don't know much about him, but he apparently like leads the expeditions, and it's whenever they stray from what the Gatekeeper says that like the bad stuff happens.
Okay, so in the next scene, like I forgot about this. This for context for you guys, after I watched the anime for Hunter x Hunter, I tried getting into reading the manga. I'm pretty sure I read this arc like 3 years ago, but I just completely forgot about it. One of my favorite things about rereading this was, okay, and I made reference to this in the Chimera Ant discussions. I love the world building of like the Dark Continent and just the danger it presents, because as we see, Chimera Ants were ranked at like this B threat, and you know they got really powerful because they got a hold of humans and Nen, but that was ranked B. And there are things listed as more horrifying than the Chimera Ants. The Chimera Ants, who are almost able to wipe out the humanity that exists in Hunter x Hunter, isn't even the most terrifying thing that comes from the Dark Continent. How I think of it as is they're ants in the grand scheme of what the Dark Continent has. And we see some of these, the 5 great, are they calamities or catastrophes?
Yeah, it's the 5 threats. That's what they're the 5 threats.
The 5 threats to humanity. Didn't I say? I thought I sent you the chart for it. I know I took a picture of that page because I want to talk about these real quick.
Yeah.
All right, let me look for it. Here they are. The Coda. Let's see. The botanical weapon Brionne. It's just a regular ass body with some weird plant head that protects these ancient ruins. The gaseous life form I, which is just a codependence of desire. the twin snake Hellbell that infects prey with homicidal desires, a beast that keeps people as pets, Pop, and then Zobai, the immortality disease. And these 5 things are listed as being more terrifying than the chimera ants.
And to be fair, from what we learn later about them, like, because we kind of get to see them talked about more later, like, you could see why the chimera ants come from this place and why they're just a bee threat.
Yeah, it's so terrifying. And I mean, we'll get to it because they're talking about like medicinal herbs and like water or whatever, and then it's like, yeah, they sent a team of like 1,000 people went, only 2 returned after they got infected by something like Hellbell. The one that scares me most is out of these 5, the immortality disease would suck to get, I assume, but out of the 4 actual creatures, probably Pop, because
Pap. Good old Pap.
Pop. It captures people. It looks like from the panel it ensnares them and they just turn into like shrunken heads where
it keeps people as pets.
It just, what I assume it does, it shrinks them down, sucks off their nutrients, and just it keeps them happy while they're just in this disgusting state as pets.
How does it describe her pleasure versus life or something?
Like Pop and the immortality disease are the most terrifying because they just don't kill you. The rest, at least, they seem like you'll just die and that's the end of it. Because there are, as we've seen in anime, manga, and fiction in general, there are fates worse than death.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway.
And you also get to see Netero leaves a message for the Zodiacs where he's like, I have a son. He's tried to explore the Dark Continent before, but it didn't go well, so I banned him while I was still alive. And he gave an order without giving an order. He was like, you guys need to explore the Dark Continent before Beyond does. And then we see Beyond turns himself in. Beyond is a very interesting character that I'm looking forward to seeing more of.
It's just based for that, where it's like, we need to hunt him down. 2 seconds later, hey, tell him you just captured me.
Yeah. And then that leads into a lot of political stuff later. It's very, very interesting. But what's next directly? Oh, we get a little tidbit of info here, Kyle. We get to learn that Nanika is from the Dark Continent.
Oh yeah, that page. But one thing I want to add is Hunter x Hunter, I think, probably has my favorite form of politics in like a fictional setting. I don't know, like that's such a weird thing to bring up, but the politics of their world are just given so much depth. A lot of it is just very surface level. Like, you know, you'll have kingdoms and they make like the most bare bones basic decisions, or you have, or like, I don't know, Jujutsu Kaisen, where it's like the normal Japanese society where there's the political world to the sorcerers, but we get some information on it. It just feels like Hunter x Hunter's world is fully expanded upon, where there's different factions in different countries, all with their own different political agendas, and we see a lot of that clashing, and I think it's very well written.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed it. I will say these 9 chapters were very dialogue heavy.
Yeah, there's not much action, but again, I feel like it's building up to something very intense.
We then get to learn that all of the known world is in the center of Lake Mobius, which I wrote in my notes as Lake Morbius. We also learn that the expeditions that go out don't generally do too well.
No, because once again, adding to the scale of Hunter x Hunter, imagine if Earth was flat for a moment. It's not, but imagine if it was.
What are you saying, Kyle? This is you can't take that hot here.
Earth to like our galaxy, not galaxy, but Earth to like a pretty like sizable part of the solar system is like how their country is to their world. Like they're just a drop in a bucket compared to how large the world is.
Yeah, the Dark Continent is like insanely huge.
It's like their world is a single state, with the rest of it just being like the size of America plus South America. Plus,
or larger.
Like, imagine if just, I don't know, something like Colorado, like the small little like box was where they lived, and the rest of the world was like the size of all the other continents combined. I'm just trying to put it to scale because it's such a ginormous scale that's hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
And what happens after?
We get to see this is our reintroduction to Pariston and Jing. Or you get
Is
to see
it?
them on the boat. Well, there's something that happens before that, but I literally wrote in my notes, people arguing over stuff and whatnot, and I can't remember what that is.
I thought Kurapika, because I'm reading it from the wiki in order. I thought he met up with Mizaistum.
No, that's a little bit later.
Oh, well, I guess I just overlooked the part where we see Jing and Pariston, because they have an interesting agenda going on here.
So we get to see Pariston is going to the Dark Continent. They're all on this big whale boat or whatever it's called that can hold a lot of people.
It can house up to 200,000 people, and within X amount of time they're trying to make like 50 of them, I think, to like send millions of people over who wanted to go on this journey.
Yeah. We get to see. Yeah, they talk for a while. I can't remember all of the details of what they say, but Jing's basically like, yeah, but if the association didn't do what you wanted them to do, you would send in your Chimera soldiers. I can appreciate how that's still like a thing.
Wait, hold on. Can you repeat that? Because that was one thing I forgot. So, Pariston has Chimera ant soldiers at his disposal.
Yeah, the 5,000 eggs that were produced, they're under his control.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. So he has an expendable army here.
And then Jing says that he'll play with him. That's because he's like, you won't get bored. He's like I'm here.
He's playing this game, cat and mouse.
And here is where I wrote the note. Art is odd, because this was whenever I really noticed. I was like the art style is different, right? And you wouldn't know that because you haven't read the rest of the manga, but it is like it's weird because mangas will go through art style changes, but normally it's like gradual. But this was like kind of stark. It was weird.
But would you say it's for the better though?
I mean, to say it's for the better, I don't think it's inherently better or worse than the other one. It's just different. I mean, I still like it. I would say maybe I preferred the old style a bit more, but I mean, it's not a bad art style.
I like it, but I mean, I can't compare it to the other one.
Yeah.
So I'm sure all that happens with Jing and Pariston.
Well, we get one final bit of info about Pariston, where he says he feels happy when people aid him, and he wants to hurt those that he cares about. Very interesting to learn and to lean into his psyche a little bit. So we get to see a little bit more later, and it's like, man, it's cool. I love Pariston.
He's just a chaotic evil sort of fella.
He is. He just wants to troll people, and that's so funny. That's so based, I think.
It's an interesting character to have work alongside Jing, because one thing I'm trying to remember all that happens. So he shows up, he wants to be number 2, and he's offering to pay everyone off, like whatever they offered you, I can pay you double as long as you call me number 2 by name. And isn't he doing that just to piss off Pariston?
Kinda. It's basically doing it just to get in his way.
Yeah, because Pariston likes getting other people's way, so he's trying to show him like how does it feel when someone gets in your way. And then after that,
then we get the Kurapika and Mizai strong.
Okay, but before that, they're looking to fill in 2 other positions for the Zodiacs, and Cheetle contacts Leorio and offers him a spot on the Zodiacs in favor of like, it'll be school credit, you'll be like paid for very well. If you don't want to and want to have like a safer one, you can. Also, doesn't Leorio offer Kurapika up the spot, or tells Cheetle about?
He goes like, don't you need someone else too? And he's like I know a guy.
He goes, I'll join on one condition, to get Kurapika in.
Yeah, and so then you have Mizai going to find Kurapika, who is the boss of some company now, which I think it could potentially be that family he worked for in Yorknew.
It is. I think he's like not underground broker, but he's like an underground leader of some of their.
He's like the boss now, but he's like a mafia boss.
I like that one panel.
You could say he's a gang star.
Yes, I suppose you could.
I suppose you could.
I like that one panel where Mizai is Strom. I say Strom, but I know it's Stom. I'm just clarifying that now.
Is it Stom?
I think it's Mizai Stom.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just dumb.
I call it Strom, but whatever. So I like when he's talking to Kurapika and he mentions the eyes, and I just like that one panel where his eyes are open. It's like, choose your words very carefully because your next words could mean death, where he has the chains pulled out. I mean that's he doesn't end up fighting Mizai Slim. In fact, they work together. But I just like that one panel. I think it's the artwork very very detailed. With the eyes.
The artwork has definitely gotten a lot more detailed with the art style. I do like it. I wrote specifically in my notes, Kurapika is kind of dripped out though. Not gonna lie.
So let's see. I'm looking through some of these notes on the just the wiki.
We get to see that Kurapika has collected a lot of the eyes he has been looking for, which is cool to see. You know, we haven't heard anything from him for the past 3 arcs at this point. And so, you know, he's been working behind the scenes and he's collected a good amount of them. And apparently, the fourth prince, as we learned he is, I can't remember his name. He will be a good character in the secession contest arc, I suppose. Okay, this prince has the last of them, I think they say.
Hold on, we're gonna have to think of a better name. His name's Serednich, Serriednich. Do we have any possible nicknames for this man, or can we just call him like the fourth prince?
Look, I'm just gonna call him the fourth prince because if I came up with a nickname for him, it'd be something the Twink.
Okay. And then we already have enough of those.
There's enough Twinks in Hunter x Hunter. We don't need another one.
Yeah.
Refer back to the fourth prince.
Refer back to my previous quote about having too many Twink nicknames. Yeah, the fourth prince, who has a lot more of those eyes, and that's what gets Kurapika involved to join the Zodiacs.
Yeah, because the Mizai is like, yeah, I can tell you who he is if you join the Zodiacs, and then like on the ship, like if something happens,
Yeah.
Here we get to see Kurapika is on the phone with Leorio, and he didn't know. He learns about Gon, and he didn't know that Gon was healed.
Yeah, we cut back to Gon for a little bit. There's again, this is where the main character goes. We see Gon. He can't really use his Nen that much. He can't use his Nen because he's been sort of reset, and even Jing describes it to him like, you offered up everything to achieve nothingness. You were okay in that moment with giving up everything, so you're gonna have to go back to basics on that one, kiddo.
Yeah, and we see that Gon, he can't see Aura anymore.
I mean,
that's like, yo, yeah, he's legit out of it.
Yeah, based on what Jing said, I'd like to infer that he could learn to use Nen again, but he has to restart.
Yeah, and we just don't know.
We see him go to school, and who's the one with the island? Like Miko? No, not me.
Oh, Mitaka.
Mito, I think is her name.
Mito, that is her name, isn't it?
Yeah, Mito Freaks. I forget.
Freaks, yeah.
I forget her. I had to look it up. Mito Freaks. I forget her relation with Jing. Isn't like
she's her cousin. She's his cousin. So technically, she's Gon's cousin as well.
Yeah,
she's Gon's second cousin.
Hold on 1 second.
We also get to see Gon is kind of here, and he's doing school. He's just a normal boy, and this is where the the funny meme comes in that I've seen. Chainsaw Man fans when they haven't seen Dennis for 4 chapters, and Jujutsu Kaisen fans when they haven't seen Yuji in over a year. Hunter x Hunter fans when they haven't seen Gon since 2014.
Yeah, he hasn't been in the story, and honestly, I am okay with that because I mean they can do more with Gon. I'm not saying they can't, and I would like him to come back at some point, but I think Gon's character pretty much peaked during the Chimera Ant, where he essentially gave up his role as the main character. He gave up everything, and out of the universe you can interpret that as he gave up his lead role. At least, I don't know, it's just kind of a silly interpretation you can make from it.
I mean, also, and I read this about it, is, you know, Gon, he achieved what he was hunting for. He found his dad.
Yeah,
so in order for him to be the protagonist again, you'd have to give him another goal. And also, Killua also accomplished his goal of finding something to do. He's going to protect Alika. That's his goal now. And so, you know, not seeing Gon and Killua, it makes sense. You know, we get to focus on Kurapika and Leorio a little bit, and that's like, okay, we're getting there.
you see in Mito's discussion with him, where Mito's like, "Would you have gone with him?" And Gon said, "I can't feel an aura anymore, an end, so no. But if I had been able to sense it, I probably would have joined him, just because of how powerful he was." And it's like, well, yeah, he's just a normal Joe Schmo now. And like what you said, it's weird that that Togashi did it with the main characters, but Gon and Killua's arcs, in a way, are essentially complete. It's weird, though, to be like, yeah, the main characters don't need to be in the story anymore. But I think Togashi's cushioned it enough to where, okay, Gon accomplished what he wanted. He found his dad. Killua found something to protect. He's friends with Gon. He's protecting Aluka. He's achieved what he wants. And now we have the unfulfilled stories of Leorio and Kurapika that we're returning to. So it's just so weird to be like, yeah, the main characters are out of the story, but the story still functions.
Yeah. But hey, I'm down for it. Also, this is something else I'll say about the manga is, and I don't think you could, because you haven't read the rest of the manga. These 9 chapters had like a different vibe to them than the rest of Hunter x Hunter. I mean, I don't know if the story feels more mature or darker or more serious. I mean, really, it feels more like a seinen than a shonen. The vibe of Hunter x Hunter definitely changed with these 9 chapters, not just the art. And it's kind of weird. I mean, I dig it, but like to say it feels like Hunter x Hunter, it almost feels a completely different series from what like Greed Island was or whatnot, Heaven's Arena. I mean, we've talked about Chimera Ant at length and how it doesn't really feel like a Hunter x Hunter arc. I mean, I like the vibe, but it is noticeably a different vibe. Next, we get to see, this is where we learn more about the 5 threats and kind of get more details about them and whatnot. Getting to know them more just makes them all the more terrifying, because before, whenever you first see them, right, they're like, they're not too bad. It's like, okay, these guys are they scarier than Chimera Ants, right? And then you learn more about them and how like each of them has like territories, and you can't get mad at them, or you can't like go around them, because if you do, it could like end humanity. And it's like, okay, so these guys are like Chimera Ants but on crack. I get it.
Wait, what are you talking about? Sorry, I had to leave for a moment.
I was talking about the 5 threats. And this is where we learn more about them.
Where let's see. So is she, because they bring up examples of like, oh, this team went to go look for something here, or went to something here. They sent X amount of people, and only like less than 1% of them returned. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, they're looking for medical herbs. They're looking for the rice that lets you live for a long time. And okay, this might be getting too far ahead, but I liked the reveal of Jing saying like, the author of this one book, there's 3 reasons as to why that other part doesn't come out. And they bring up the other 2 and goes, or he's still alive and writing the book. The author, Don Freaks. I was like, whoa, that's like one of his great ancestors. That was just a cool reveal. Which makes you think, assuming Don Freaks is alive, I'd like to believe he is for the sake of my hypothetical. He has to be one crazy, powerful man to be on the Dark Continent for as long as he has.
And just to be alive after that long, too.
Yeah, well, okay, that aside, because, again, the Dark Continent has unique plants and animal life that could help with longevity, because even they bring up the example of the rice. The fact that he's been able to live amongst the disasters that we know, plus anything else, it's terrifying to think of just how powerful someone like him could be. That he's lived that long, like survival that long, okay, assuming there was food, but just to be able to fend off from that stuff, that's insane.
And also to fight against the creatures that we see in the art whenever we learn that Netero took an expedition there. Is the one you were talking about. That's just, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's kind of insane.
So then after this,
we get a little more with Pariston and Jing, where we get the good line from Pariston.
Before that, I have a question. Is this the part where that one guard comes in with all the gunmen?
No, that's a little bit later.
Okay, because when we get there, you'll have to re-explain that, because that scene confused me.
Yeah, and so we get to learn that Pearson hates Jing. Specifically, he says, "I want to see what I want to do to someone I hate." And that's just like, ooh, okay, Periston. Maybe he'll make out with him. I think that'd be kind of cool. I think that'd be kind of cool.
I would not want that.
I think that'd be pretty cool. I think.
Okay, so and then don't we also get we finally get to I think see Kurapika and Mizaistum work together where they find out or they figure that some of these temp hunters who are working with Beyond are infiltrating the new hunter exam the new hunter exam, and they're trying to get into the association as like hidden members of Beyond's group.
Yeah, but right before that, we get a little scene of our introduction to the fourth prince. And my notes for this is the prince murders people and calls it art. We all have our eccentricities, I guess. It's a good little character intro. I enjoyed it. Yeah, this fourth prince guy is very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing more of him.
We certainly see him.
Yeah, then we get all the stuff. He says allies in the association with Periston and the Timp Hunters, and they say there might be a spy in the Zodiacs.
Yeah, and so far the factions now are broken up into. You have the stuff with, you have Kurapika and the Zodiacs working against Beyond Periston, and I think is Jing. He's not with them technically, right?
No.
He's there to try to quell Periston.
Yeah, he's there to get in Periston's way because he thinks it's entertaining.
But we have not only the Zodiacs and Beyond's group, but we also have, which we'll talk about later because this builds into it, the build up for the princes with the succession contest. We're gonna call it war because we've heard it as Succession War at some point.
If we slip up and call it Succession War, don't kill us.
It's the same different semantic side. Yeah, we also have that faction forming where they're not really in direct position against the two groups I mentioned. It's just that they're a third neutral party who I assume is going to cause a lot of problems.
Yes. We also get to see that there's going to be another Hunter exam. So it has now been 2 years since the start of the series, which means that Gon and Killua are 14 now. Fun fact.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, because we don't really see too much of the exam itself. We just see Kurapika weeding out people using his chains, his dowsing chain.
Yeah. Here I wrote a little note. Kurapika is the rat now. Does that mean he has to be my new favorite character? He's literally me, Kyle. The twink is literally me, Kyle. I'm literally a twink.
No, there's too many track.
I'm literally a twink, Kyle.
Let's see. I'm just.
You're just gonna ignore me like that, huh?
Yeah, I'm currently reading.
Here we get the whole thing where the guys with guns go up against Jing and Periston. So what this was, yada yada, they're chasing them around, and Jing's like, oh, there's only one way to solve this. And Pearson's like, oh, you don't mind showing me your ability? And he's like, no, it's good. And then he uses Leorio's punching ability. And you're like, oh, is his inability to copy the abilities of others? Is this dude all for one?
Okay, sorry, I was trying to interrupt to say the wiki breaks this up very weirdly because toward like halfway in, only now it starts explaining what Jing is doing with Periston.
Yeah, that is very weird breakup.
That's
I guess it kind of makes more sense because they aren't connected plot points, so it makes sense to just explain it all in one fell swoop as opposed to what
I think going back and forth showing how things are progressing would work better. Sorry, not here to criticize the wiki, but
here to criticize the wiki.
I'm using this to get information because, again, I binge reading manga. I don't mind it, but I always feel like I'm forgetting way too much in the conversation. Like where it's like, okay, we read 20 chapters, something. Let's talk about it, and my brain's just gonna be like, that's a lot of manga pages to try to recall all the exact information.
We also get to see where we think Jing's ability is to copy the abilities of others. But it's not that, and he says that it's not that. He just has the ability to replicate any punches that he's hit with.
And that's not even his Nen power.
Yeah. And he's just like, he looks at Paris and he's like, yeah, I know you hired these guys. He's like, but their script was awful, so I just kind of played along with it. He's like, I'm not going to show you my ability.
Okay,
and Paris was just like, all right.
This is
all right.
So he hired these guys to try to get Jing to show his powers.
Yeah, that was the whole thing.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, but obviously Jing didn't, and Pariston was not too happy at that. Not too happy that Jing figured that out. He was kind of a little bit mad, you could say.
It was a good thing that he got hit with Leorio's teleporting punch. But okay, that begs the question of what are Jing's powers and how would that also apply? Because I assume Jing has an arsenal of punching related Nen abilities stored up. And this also, once again, ties back into the concept of Nen, where you can use other people's Nen powers. They might not be as effective. So, for
we also have
punching ones. Oh, sorry, what?
I was gonna say, Jing's Nen powers might somehow be tied to Greed Island because him and his friends did create Greed Island. So it's just a question of how did they do that? You know.
I want to say something like physical enhancement because, if you have a lot of punching abilities underneath your belt, the ability to strengthen that would be very good. And if you had a wide, diverse array of physical abilities, that'd be nice.
Yeah. And we have Jing officially becoming number 2. And Jing and Paris are their rivals now. How cool is that?
Mm-hmm.
Next, we get to see Kurapika running the Hunter exam using, I think it's a new chain. I don't think it was ever established before, where it's just a chain where you can tell if someone's lying or not.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a couple rules set out, but it's cool. I think it's fair. I think it's balanced. I like it. It's a cool little ability. We get here that
don't we also get Princes of Kakin?
Yes, we get to see the first prince, Benjamin, tell the fourth prince that whoever survives the voyage will be the king.
He's wrestling a lion as he's on the phone. That's pretty base.
Yeah, he's literally Cade. That's so true. And then we get to see Kurapika and Cow.
Hold on. I what now?
There's a dude that looks like a lion, and he's wrestling a lion. Like he holds in a chokehold, and then he kills it.
He's back on mute.
And then we get to see Kurapika and Cow are trying to find the imposter among us, as I wrote down in my notes.
I thought that too, and
And we get to see that Monkey is the imposter among us.
Sayu. Also, so what they do is, because they're trying to weed everyone out, and what they think of is, and this was an interesting point where I forget who says it. One of them proposes the idea of the lie detector might not pick up everyone because some of these people might be think of it like sleeper agents, where there could be an Nen power that erase some of their memories, where they intend to infiltrate and then get the memories back later so they can pass the lie detector. And they're like, okay, well, if that's the case, there could be a spy amidst, I'm not saying the specific word, I'm not doing it, amidst the Zodiacs.
Yeah, you could say that there's an imposter among us.
Amidst
for lack
them,
of a better word.
Amidst, within, there's plenty
among,
of words.
You could use the word among if you wanted to.
We will not be using that word.
Yeah,
but
you could say that he was among us.
And the powers in Hunter x Hunter are just very interesting because Sayu explains his powers as whenever he attacks using monkeys, and his power works out the principle of hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil, where if all 3 of the monkeys that he, I guess, conjures attacks you and successfully lands, the opponent loses the ability to hear, see, or speak. Which is
here, Kyle, is where I give you a bit of information of you read 2 chapters into Secession Contest.
Oh, is that what that's shown?
Yes, because I didn't know that.
Well, I thought
if it's in the next 2 chapters, then it's not a big deal.
Sorry. Well, earlier
but let's keep the content to Dark Continent Expedition.
Okay, well, hold on. The reason I only brought that up earlier, I asked just to read through 33, and that was all you said. Yeah, so I assumed that up to the end of 33 was just that.
That's the first 7 chapters of 33.
Okay, whenever I asked, I asked like the entire thing. So my bad. We'll limit that. So we'll
get there later.
That's my bad. But yeah.
last bit of information we get from Dark Continent is we get to know that the secession contest will only be for those on the boat, only for those princes that are on the boat. And so we get to see that probably not all of them are going to be on there, but we think we get to see them, and there's 14 of them. There's 14 princes. And I doubt all of them will be there, but I don't doubt that the ones that are there will be introduced to. And we'll get to learn. The fourth prince seems to be the main character of the princes.
And I'm guessing he's the one that nobody wants to win because... Okay. Alright, well, I can't say anymore because I did read the next 2 chapters, and they propose a very interesting reason as to why.
Yeah. Well, we'll get there with Succession Contest, the current arc of Hunter x Hunter. How does it feel, Kyle? You're on to the most recent arc of Hunter x Hunter.
I'm happy.
You know, it's a good manga. It has a different feel than it used to, but I'm very much looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing Kurapika some more. Looking forward to seeing Leorio some more. Looking forward to figuring out what exactly the Dark Continent is, eh?
That, because one thing I'll say, I don't know why I had this expectation. I figured that within these 7 chapters, the idea would have been brought up and like scrapped immediately. I don't know why. Like years ago when I heard that, I was like, oh wow, the Dark Continent lasts for 9 chapters. I guess they bowed out pretty hard.
Yeah, no, it's an odd choice for a name of an arc, but that's the name of the arc according to every source on the internet. So that's the name of the arc. I don't know if Togashi himself gave it that name or not, but that's the name of the arc. It's Dark Continent Expedition, despite the fact they don't go to the Dark Continent during it. So we have Secession Contest, where they probably do go to the Dark Continent, actually.
And, well, okay, I also feel like, here's the thing. Isn't it where the surviving prince is the one who's crowned the king?
Yeah, whatever prince goes on the voyage there, and whatever prince is left of those that go on the voyage is king.
So it's not like the king needs to be decided as soon as they step off the boat. It's decided based on the last one to return home. Is that correct? I
think it could be just on the way there. It's probably the last one to return home.
If so, this arc hasn't ended, which means they have not even gotten to the Dark Continent. Assuming that the Succession Contest ends before getting off the boat, they have not even made it to the Dark Continent yet in the year 2022. Probably. But
yeah, Hunter x Hunter will never be finished, but that's okay.
If it's something where the contest lasts during the entirety of their existing on the Dark Continent, then that'll be interesting. And I know one major spoiler for later events, and I can explain later.
Do I know one major spoiler? There's something I thought I knew that I was going to say.
I have a meme I've been holding back on because of what I know, and I'll share it later.
Alrighty. Well, with that, if you're that far in the video, obviously there's something you like. So to be sure to like and subscribe and join the Discord, discord.gg/Goobers and Screens. There's a link in the description. If you enjoy this type of content, be sure to check out the Rat's Nest, my little corner where I post my anime reviews of very similar magnitude. And not magnitude, that's a very bad word. Why did I say magnitude? Of a very similar style to our book clubs over here on Goobers and Screens. Kyle is also there every once in a while for chapter reviews. How crazy is that?
Yeah, he a similar Richter scale, you could say.
Yeah, they're on the same Mohs hardness scale, you could say. They're both a solid 0.5 on the Mohs hardness scale. So thank you all for watching. We very much appreciate it and look forward to the last episode of Hunter x Hunter Book Club. For now, the session contest coming in 1 week. Wowee. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.